Marco's Fiery Flavors menu is back. Sadly, we can't show you our fiery pepperoni pizza topped with a bold Carolina Reaper cheese blend and 2 kinds of pepperoni. But here's some sounds that'll give you the same fiery feeling. Fiery pizza. Fiery cheesy bread. Inferno bread. Sounds delicious, right? The Fiery Flavors menu is back at Marco's Pizza for a limited time. Get it while it's hot. Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. Taxes may apply. See store for details.
This is an Extra 106.3 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 106.3 FM or download the Extra 106.3 app. Extra 106.3 and a Second Chance Bail Bonds are proud to bring you Justice Unfiltered. Real conversations with real people from every side of the justice system. From the latest in law and order to the voices of those impacted, changed, and working to make a difference. This is where truth meets transformation. Now, it's time for Justice Unfiltered, presented by a Second Chance Bail Bonds on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
This is Justice Unfiltered on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Coward, along with Daniel Madelon, who is the CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds and a Second Chance Monitoring. How are you, pal?
Doing well, doing well.
Glad that you're here. A incredible guest for this show that has gotten so much TV time, and I'm sure he's crazy about it. Guy's been on television probably more than anybody you know. Biggest star you'll ever meet, ever hear from. Judge Scott McAfee. How are you, man?
Well, I was all right before you introduced me that way. I think it's not too late for me to run screaming for the door.
Tell me you've not been on TV a whole bunch.
I mean, there was a little bit of that. Yeah. It wasn't exactly what I signed up for.
Not what you hoped for.
Yeah. But thanks for the invite. I am glad to be here. First podcast, wanted to see what this is all about. I saw after 60-something episodes, I'm the first judge you talked into this.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So we'll see if that was a huge mistake, and we'll go from there.
If we step in it.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
If we step in it, it won't be the first time that I've stepped in it. I mean, I do that with regularity. You get hollered at for doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing. So I'm glad I got a judge here to keep me in line. That's the biggest benefit we have today.
That's right.
So, we're in Cobb County. I'm powerless.
That's right.
You're completely on your own.
We're right on the edge, but yes, we are in Cobb County. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So how do y'all know one another? That's interesting to me. How did y'all connect?
We I guess connected through the legal community, really, right? I mean, I guess that would be a fair.
That's what people always say about, even in a county as big as Fulton, is people tend to run into each other, tend to know each other, especially in the criminal justice world. And so I'd certainly heard of you before you reached out, and you're now running Second Chance, which I think is really running the show, is what it seems like, especially with the ankle monitoring system. So when you reached out, I think it's been a minute since we had a lunch a while back.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But at some point, if you're here long enough, you're going to meet everybody.
That's right.
So I think was the case for us.
What has been the best thing about a Second Chance that you've seen? Gets a little praise here from a guy that sits on the bench and sees people coming in and out of court that need the services that y'all provided a Second Chance. Is it technology? Is it communications? What do they do well?
Well, stepping back, it's the criminal justice system as a whole has so many different components and moving parts. There's so many cogs kind of in the machine. And so the second one gets a little wobbly, that's where things can go off the rails. And, all the focus can be on the jail, on the DA's office, on the public defender's office, on the bench, which is, rightfully where a lot of the focus should be, that we lose sight of some of the other components that also have to be working. And one of those is our bonding system. And this is something that is a structure that goes back, decades, if not hundreds of years. And when it's neglected, when it's not working like it should, there's an impact, which is if I don't have a defendant on bond showing up in court, we can't move forward with the cases, and all the effects that stem from that just create more and more complications. And we could list each one of them out, but the reality is having someone in an industry that I can be confident is proactively working, informing the defendants of what the expectations are, when they need to be in court. That is just so very important. Again, doesn't always get a lot of focus. It's kind of happening off in the background. But for me to be able to come out into court, call the calendar, and know these guys are going to be here, they're actually going to be here, and we can get to the substance, the heart of the case, and do what we got to do. Otherwise, the case is, we've got to go out and track these folks down. They get picked back up. They're just stuck in jail waiting for their next court date. the issues of notice, just really not getting to the merits of the case. Everything that stems from there just creates more complications.
Goodness gracious, Daniel, that's a lot on your shoulders there, pal.
Yeah, no, and listen, Judge McAfee, first of all, phenomenal judge, and have always been a fan of, and just the approach of how he's approached everything. And look, you just, when you have elected officials and stuff like that, look, it's important to kind of know who you're dealing with and stuff like that. And he's just been a great asset for Fulton County, and it's been a great breath of fresh air to have him down there, just because he's been able to listen and he really understands what we're doing. Listen, we shouldn't be sitting here talking to judges about bail bonds and stuff like that. That's not like a everyday conversation. But once you get a good system and process in place and stuff like that, then it can flow, very nicely.
Yeah, because if it isn't working the way it's supposed to,
that's right.
And then it becomes an issue. When you say approach, what do you mean about?
Well, just the overall approach to all of this in general, right? It's a more just open, more open to conversation, more open to communicating and stuff like that. Where in past times, it's been a very sheltered industry where we've been unable to communicate with elected officials sometimes and have those conversations that probably needed to be had a long time ago.
Just never did.
And I think when you're like, that's one of in a criminal case, the first big decision you've got to make as a judge is generally going to be bond, right? They come in fresh off the arrest, and you've got the factors you're supposed to consider. And usually this is a decision that doesn't get appealed very often. I mean, I think we may get, a Supreme Court opinion or a Court of Appeals opinion once every 5 or 10 years. So you're making this decision where it's very, there's a lot of discretion. It's a very deferential standard on review. And knowing essentially seeing the matrix at play of all the different issues, I think guides that decision. So again, am I going to be more willing to grant a bond when I know there is a system in place that will actually ensure he's showing up, that he can be held accountable, that he is being reminded of the court dates, not just the United States mail, which has some issues. And so that gives me more confidence to then give a bond, and I can make that decision, thumbs up, thumbs down. Knowing it's in place.
And when I can work as a small business owner in the bail industry and work within a system with a judge like this, that equals success for all sides. That's what success looks like. It is.
And Fulton's going to the next level too, which I think we should be proud of with the ankle monitoring system that you've been tasked and put in charge with, which is now we've got these gray areas. Someone could be charged with just name it, the worst possible offense you can think of. But it's their first arrest. They've got benches full of family support, and you really think, I don't think this guy's going to run for it. But I mean, the case is so serious. There needs to be some higher level of accountability here than just posting some money. So now we've got the system in place where we can put them in a virtual kind of jail that is their house until we can get their case resolved. And whereas before, I didn't really have total confidence that I was going to know if they'd cut that ankle monitor, stepped outside that geographic limitation. I'm now getting that email personally multiple times a day. There is no doubt.
You got a folder set up.
And I can tell these defendants, by the way, they are eyeing you and specifically you, whereas I think before there might have been the mindset, there's so many of us, we can kind of slip out, make a little run to the gas station for something. That's not happening anymore.
To the gas station, as if that's where they're headed.
Actually, that's kind of where most of our cases originate, it seems. So that is one of the ones I would say be wary of. But
there's that.
It's actually surprising to me a little bit.
Having that option of I don't have to keep you in the Fulton County jail, but I can keep you in your house jail until we get you to trial is tremendous, and it has created such lessen the burden on our county.
Well, how do you do that, Daniel? Because he talked about folks trying to cut off ankle monitors and
well, look, it's all if in the culture of the system, right? How is the system made up? And we came in to Fulton County and we had to change a lot of things, obviously in conjunction with Fulton County.
When you say change, are you talking about just to implement?
Just systems and processes and things that had to kind of be tweaked that now the program's able to flourish in a way that it was unable to before.
Is it better in Fulton than other counties? Now, similar.
Right now, yes. Right now, Fulton County is thriving. That program is doing amazing right now. Yeah.
Does that surprise you, Judge?
In a way, it does, because Fulton has this reputation of just being chaotic, Wild West, the circus. You have no idea what to expect.
I'm a Fulton County resident, so I know.
It's dysfunctional, but there's no reason why it should be that way, because we have just vast resources to apply to each of these problems. We should be the premier circuit in how we can quickly and efficiently resolve cases, how we can get to the merits of things, and because we have all of these things that we can implement, and here's one of them. It's worked, and I'm glad to hear that, and I certainly would.
Well, and you talk about doing it efficiently, and you talk about taxpayers' dollars, right? You want to efficiently.
I would like to point out that's mine.
Well, right, and that's
I don't got a lot.
That's right.
And it's efficiently doing it. You take a program where it's like we're so far under budget, and we took where our program was running 1,300 units to now almost cut it in half. Think
Well,
about
what does that mean,
the
though?
cost savings.
When you say units,
What do you
units,
mean?
individual, so an actual ankle monitor. So I'm calling an ankle bracelet a unit.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
referring to that as a unit, right?
All right, and so when you cut that in half, you say,
but it basically you shrink that because you're going for efficiency, right? It's who actually needs to be right. You and I have had this conversation, which it's like who actually, what are people just sitting on these things forever? Right? We want to cut back on that and get more efficient on what we're doing as far as who needs to be, who doesn't need to be, and a lot of that has transpired now, right? So now we've gone through that cleanup phase, and now we're in moving. Now we can add, and now we can add little shine. You can make changes now and enhance now that you have the system in place.
Tweak the
You can
method.
tweak it.
or what?
Yes.
Okay. Look, I think it's great because me as a taxpayer, I want to hear that things are running efficiently. Because, like Judge, I was a little surprised you were going to say that about Fulton County because I'm a resident and
Right, and look, nobody's perfect, right?
And I don't
none of
expect
us are-
anybody to be. I don't expect anybody because I know I'm not.
But,
right? I know I get
as
it
far as that goes, oh yeah, it's and you're seeing it in the cases because listen, if the judge can understand what's going on with that, then they can make an actual determination, an individualized determination on that case based on factual evidence, which is the data that we're actually providing.
I love it
Yeah.
because I want that to work the way it's supposed to. And it's good for people like me and others that live in Fulton County to hear that there are processes in place that work effectively and are doing the job that needs to be done at the courthouse, getting people their opportunity to stand in front of the judge or to, hey, your judge, your time isn't yet, but you've got to stay at home and not in jail. And I would assume that's probably a little bit better for taxpayers.
No question. And as I mentioned, it's one less thing for us to worry about.
That's
Fulton.
right.
We got plenty of others, but at least we can sit there and have some confidence that, again, as I mentioned, this cog is not so wobbly anymore, and we can move on to all the other challenges that we face.
There will always be a challenge,
And
right?
everywhere.
That's right.
Not
Everywhere.
just in Fulton County. When we come back, we'll talk about some of your work with the Major Case Division handling homicides and prosecutions for Fulton County, which sounds intense. And then just that commitment to your community, why you decided to become a judge, what is it that motivates you to continue down this path when there are a lot of stress, I would imagine, as a judge and a lot of scrutiny that you live under every day. This is Justice Unfiltered on Extra 106.3. My name is Tug Cowart. Our guest, Judge Scott McAfee, and of course, Daniel Madelon is the reason we do the show. He is the CEO of a Second Chance Bail Bonds and a Second Chance Monitoring. We will be right back. Marco's Fiery Flavors menu is back. Sadly, we can't show you our fiery pepperoni pizza topped with a bold Carolina Reaper cheese blend and 2 kinds of pepperoni. But here's some sounds that'll give you the same fiery feeling. Fiery pizza. Fiery cheesy bread. Inferno bread. Sounds delicious, right? The Fiery Flavors menu is back at Marco's Pizza for a limited time. Get it while it's hot. Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. Taxes may apply. See store for details.
Buying a car shouldn't be a mystery. Hi, I'm Stacey Ellis, Vice President of the Jim Ellis Automotive Group. At Jim Ellis, we believe in complete transparency because you deserve to know exactly what you're getting. That's why we show you all the numbers, no hidden fees, no surprises. We explain every option clearly so you can make the right decision with confidence. And if you ever have questions, we have answers. Our team is here to guide you, making sure you're informed and in control every step of the way. At Jim Ellis Automotive, we don't want to sell you just any car. We want to help you buy the right car because doing the right thing for you is what matters most to us. Experience car buying the way it should be. Honest, straightforward, and built around you. And don't forget, Jim Ellis buys cars too. It's the safe and easy way to get maximum value for your car. To get started, visit one of our 21 convenient locations across Metro Atlanta or shop online at jimellis.com. The quick, easy, and convenient way to search and compare more than 5,500 cars, trucks, and SUVs. Jim Ellis Automotive, where you can always expect the best.
This is Justice Unfiltered, presented by A Second Chance Bail Bonds on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Welcome back to Justice Unfiltered on Extra 106.3. Our guest today is Judge Scott McAfee and, of course, Daniel Madelon of A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. My name is Tug Howard. This is Extra 106.3. So we'll start with a little bit of background. Did you grow up knowing you were going to be a judge or wanted to be a judge? Was that even anything that you ever thought about?
No, not at all. And I think that's the case for a lot of judges, actually. I didn't have any lawyers in the family, but I grew up kind of a bookworm, and I liked reading a newspaper, and so law school seemed like a good fit, and so I headed that way. And then when I got there, I realized that trial work was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in a courtroom, proving a case, ideally to a jury, and all the different skills that go into that. So from there, that steered me into criminal law because essentially the reality is those are the only cases getting tried anymore. Most of civil cases, there's a few, but it's a vanishing breed. And if you really want to be in a courtroom, again, convincing a jury, looking them eye to eye, you have to be doing criminal work. So that took me to a DA's office. First one I could find that would hire me was out in Winder, Georgia, Barrow County.
There you go.
More cows than people, perhaps.
That's right. Yeah. That's my people out there.
They were good people. And, you get to start off there. It's not quite as hectic. You can really sit there and prepare, sometimes over-prepare your cases. I'll remember, like, the case docket I inherited. I was so fired up because I had like the one armed robbery. And then thinking back when I come to Fulton, they're just
it's every day
spilling out of the ceiling tiles. You can't even keep up with them all. But it allowed you to really go to basics, read every statute, read the case law, get prepared, know exactly what the possibilities are that could come up. And then from there, I needed to get back to Atlanta as I was getting married. And so I found a civil firm. It was wonderful to have my salary doubled, but then after about 4 months, I said, "This isn't for me," and I felt like I hadn't accomplished everything I wanted to do in a courtroom, and so I signed up for where all the action is in the Fulton County DA's office, and I've always, and still feel that if you can make it in Fulton County, you can make it anywhere, and so dived in. They had a system there where you'd the ideal they pushed you towards is to get into the major case division where. Again, Fulton County having the volume that it does, they have an exclusive division that would just do homicide prosecutions. And to me, that was the dream because it is high stakes. It can be an all or nothing endeavor. A lot of those go to trial. You're dealing literally with life and death, and you're doing a lot of litigation, a lot of the motions practice, and it was just also a lot of fun, but also incredibly rewarding. I mean, you're getting to be the champion of these victims' families. But at the same time, if you're wearing that prosecutor hat like you should, you are making sure that the system is working as it should, that you're respecting a defendant's rights, making sure that trial is fair, because you want to protect your case on appeal as well.
Goodness. It just seems so stressful. I don't think I have it in me to I really don't. Y'all laugh, but I just don't think I have it in me because I try to see the good in everybody, right? And because I feel like that shades my ability to look past, okay, this is the sheen, this is the nice guy persona that I've put on to be in the courtroom. How do I make sure that that's really what I'm looking at? Does that make sense? Am I explaining that well?
In a way, I would say that there's no reason you can't be a nice guy and be a prosecutor or defense attorney. In fact, I think one of the best things you can do is say we can disagree without being disagreeable. And I think you find you'll get along better with opposing counsel, with the judges, and maybe more persuasive with the jury if they feel like you're just here to get to the truth of what happened and present it honestly and earnestly, right? So, but look, I mean, lawyers will talk about it all the time if you're doing mostly criminal work, is you do learn to compartmentalize things. And you see these terrible images and you're meeting people describing their worst day of their lives. Mm-hmm. and you're able to kind of put that hopefully in a box when you go home to the extent you can. You can't always, but also you're not doing it for nothing. You've got a goal in mind. If you're a prosecutor, it's all right. We're going to try to hold some accountability here and hold someone responsible. If you're a defense attorney, you're making sure that the process is fair, that if your client's rights are respected, and that the right outcome happens. So you're not just doing it just to make yourself, have an unpleasant day. There's actually a point to it all.
Tug, all I know is you better be prepared if you're showing up to his courtroom. That's all I know.
And me being
because what I just heard from him was that just sounded real serious, and he was really serious right there. Okay?
No,
but I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it.
And I fly by the seat of my pants on most everything, so I would
we
not.
can't
I'd
have
come.
that.
Yeah, you'd have me torn to shreds. You'd be like,
you'd
sir,
be kicked out like before the thing even started.
You need to go back and get your stuff together before. But when you say compartmentalize, because the lawyers get to do that, I assume you're seeing it every day in every case. It seems like they have 1, 2, 3 clients, whatever, and they know the ins and outs of their case. But you have to see a whole docket, a whole day's worth. How do you compartmentalize that?
Like in the current role?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I guess it's just with practice. It helps. You've also got to just have that ability to step outside yourself. I've got you can try to find the humor in situations as best you can. I know when the kids ask me, what did you do at work today? There's kind of a game I have to play where I sanitize it for a 6-year-old, which means that there's a lot of people running around Atlanta shooting each other with super soakers and eating candy, white powder that they're not supposed to.
What are those sugar candies? Do you remember the sugar candies that came in little packages that had
So
the
great.
Fun Dip?
Yeah.
The
Fun Dip. Yeah.
You got spun up on Fun Dip.
There it is. And maybe that's all there is to it. And so as a result, some of them have to go to timeout for a little while. Others don't. And we just kind of work through those issues as I describe my day for the kids.
And that's it.
That's right.
You just explained it.
Dude, I love it.
Anyhow.
But then, okay, let's talk about right outcomes in your current role, Judge McAfee. Because obviously 50% of the people in the room are not going to like your outcome. Does that ever get to you? But I know your goal is to have justice done, whatever that is. It doesn't matter how you feel about the person. It doesn't matter how you feel about the lawyers. Is the right thing happening?
Right, absolutely. I mean, that is, I think, the core of what a judge is going to sit there and what's going to keep them up at night is, did I get it right? And getting it right, I think, is going to be the North Star of what every judge is after. And because it's not always clear cut. A lot of times, both sides have great arguments, and you're just having to cut through the fog and in that moment, hope that you made the right decision, especially when it comes to kind of some of these thorny legal issues where the path may not be clear. You've just got to really make a call and put in the work. Hope you've read every case that you can, and make a call, and then you have to live with it. But there are certainly still times where I'm thinking back, did I do that one right? Should I have sentenced it for this number of years or another number of years? And that kind of, I think, uncertainty just is always going to be part of the process. But in terms of the approval rate or the thumbs up satisfaction on coming out of that courtroom, yes, you're not going to be able to rule for both sides every time. But even the folks that you have to rule against, I find that if they come away feeling they've been heard, that they had their opportunity to make their case, that they really felt like you considered it, that they're going to understand what happened. They don't have to be happy about it, but at least they're not going to feel like this was some sham that they got taken advantage of.
Treated fairly.
They got their day in court. And so I think that at a minimum, that's what I'm trying to do. Even if it takes a little longer, even if it can be kind of frustrating to go through the whole process, that's and I can't say I succeed on that every time. Sometimes, we've got a heavy docket. I've got to get through it, and maybe I've got to say, all right, let's cut to the chase here. Here's the core component. It can't just be a filibuster. But I think that is a core component in every courtroom is you've got to give everyone their day in court, and that helps with that perception.
Later on, after you've reflected on it, maybe it's years, maybe it's days, maybe it's minutes, do you ever feel like the wrong thing happened?
I have had, I think it's rare in terms of Now, if it's something within my control, at least I can make sure that I think the right thing has happened.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of situations where I think the wrong thing has happened.
Maybe I'll set it up.
I'll set it that way. I mean, there have been sentencing decisions that aren't within my control because that's the state's discretion.
That's right.
Georgia law puts that squarely on the side of the state sometimes when there's mandatory minimums, and I can look at that and look objectively at the case, look at other cases I've experienced, and be like, I wouldn't recommend that, and I don't think that's a just outcome. But
that's fascinating. I
have to go along with it because that's the law, right?
Especially, Daniel, and I'll bring you in on this too. Like, if a jury makes a decision and you as the judge are sitting there and you're going, I think they got it wrong. I think the jury got it wrong.
Listen, I've been a victim, so I've had jury trials that I've been a part of as the victim, and then I've also been a juror. Juries are wild. That's all I can tell you. I mean, and I don't like to use the word crazy because it's not a good.
Let me use it. Juries are crazy.
Juries are crazy.
Have you had jury duty? Have you experienced on the other side?
Yes, sir. I've been called down. I've never been selected.
They knew better than that.
That's right. There's like, he'll call us crazy one day.
I mean, just through my experience, it's been nothing short of wild. Just some of the outcomes that I've seen and just things that.
Do you have an example? I mean, obviously change the name to protect the innocent. But
just like basically like if the sky is blue and the person's telling you that it's purple, okay, and the other people are telling you that it's blue. Like we all know the sky's blue,
but the one guy
they will not. Like, I mean, it's what's called a holdout. I mean, it's what they call a jury holdout, or I mean, I don't know if that's the professional term. I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but whatever you call that. But basically, that you see that happen, and that's for just no. I mean, people have reasons. Who knows, right? I mean,
is it politics? Do you feel like it's ever politics?
Could it ever be? I don't know. I mean, I think it's just humans, dude. I think people just deal with things differently and process it differently, and how they arrive at their outcome. I don't know. Their decision. I don't know.
How do you think? That all that
that's a lot to unpack. So in the last 2 years, I think we've now hit going on 30 jury verdicts, and that's for civil and criminal cases. And I try to make a point, and I have been able to go back after every verdict and just let them chat and say, by law, I can't express approval or disapproval of your verdict, but if you have any questions about the process or anything, have at me. And then I'll also invite the attorneys back, let them have that conversation, try to get some constructive feedback. And it can be wild just to think of like what process they went down. I actually find that for civil cases, that's more of an unknown and unpredictability. Like if you're deciding to send your $1 million breach of contract claim to a jury, that's your call, but God help you, because sometimes the contract is kind of the secondary concern. They're in there just kind of hashing out what they think is the middle ground or their measure of justice, and that's what they've been given the ability to do. With criminal cases, you'll see them latch onto things that you didn't think maybe were important when you heard the evidence, but they are earnestly trying to get it right. I mean, I think in Fulton County we do actually, and this isn't just me pandering to the voters here, I think we've got some really intelligent jurors coming from all walks of life, and when they get in there, 12 people, again, there's the magic of the system. Can you imagine anything else anywhere where we have 12 people agreeing to anything? And yet we do it day in, day out in the courthouse. We somehow are able to get these 12 people to come to an agreement on these huge issues, knowing the gravity of what they're about to decide. And that's why I just come away still in love with the jury system. You're right. I'll be the first to say there've certainly been a verdict or two where I said, I think y'all
might have messed it up.
Y'all just weren't focusing on this, or the law, you kind of overlooked that one aspect of the law. But the reality is, in total, it is a system that has a lot going for it. And not everyone does it that way.
Best system in the world.
As far as I can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some situations where I would feel very uncomfortable if it was just one judge, me, making this incredible decision. But actually, I would say that is, in all of continental Europe, that's how they do it, which is amazing. I haven't seen that in practice and sat down and watched a trial from start to finish. Maybe it's more efficient. But again, I think the confidence of knowing that 12 random people decided that someone was guilty or not guilty kind of puts a stamp of more certainty on a lot of things. Again, there have been abuses along the way. There's no questions, but on a whole, when you even it out, I'm a fan of the jury system.
Certainly, I am too, and I love this country, and I love what this country does for people who are accused. I think it's so valuable. Would you say that most people coming in on a jury trial that you've been the judge for, do you think they care about what they're doing, Or is it, hey, I got to get out of here because I got 10,000 things going on at home?
It's kind of like the 5 stages of grief. Everyone kind of comes in stage 1, which is, how do I get out of here? What do I have to say?
Right.
And then when there's some things that we will tell them, and when they see the actual people who are there waiting to be heard, and once they get selected, there's the shock of, oh gosh, how did this happen to me? But again, once they get into the evidence, you just see all of a sudden kind of a switch come on, or a transformation in their thinking, where then they become, they're the first ones in the jury room, ready to go. They're taking notes the whole time. And then when I talk to them at the end, they more often than not, they're coming away with, a more of appreciation for the system. So and it really hits home, especially in the criminal cases, when you say, welcome, we're talking about a murder today. And then all of a sudden, whoa, it's real. And so...
Yeah.
I would say that is the most common thing that we come across. We recognize, especially with how much we travel, how chaotic our lives are, what a burden it is. But I just usually will start off by reminding them all that, look, just for a second, imagine that you've been accused of a crime, or your loved one is the victim of a crime, or you're the witness in a case. Wouldn't you want someone just like you on this jury? And so in order to get a fair and impartial jury, we need you to take this process seriously, give it everything you have, and go from there. And then hope that your number doesn't get called next time, right?
Oh, I just remembered. I have jury duty in like 9 days.
Well, we'll see you there.
10 days.
We're putting you on the front row.
That's right.
I just remembered. I was like, holy cow!
Buddy, don't forget that. They'll
Dude,
send a constable to your house.
Set a reminder.
Not that I've had that happen
Lord.
before.
Okay.
I want to read you a line from a Politico article from last week. The criminal case against Donald Trump in Georgia is officially dead. Is that true?
Officially dead. So just from a legal perspective, we now have the assigned prosecutor saying he's not going forward with the case, and so he moved for a dismissal. And so I think technically that it could be refiled in the next 6 months or within the statute of limitations. He can go back to a grand jury. But the reality is that if there is no prosecutor, there is no case to go forward on.
Yeah.
So the case itself has other kind of collateral issues that we have to deal with. The Georgia General Assembly passed a law saying the defendants can now come back and ask for their attorney's fees. We're going to have to sort through what that means and what those amounts are. But I would say that, again, recognizing that I've got judicial rules that prevent me from getting too into the weeds and the nuances and giving you any hot takes. But to answer your question, I would say I don't expect to see any further proceedings on the merits.
Do you think that's the right thing?
That I couldn't go into.
Yeah, which I understand. I completely understand. But I feel like I have to ask, Daniel. It's one of those things where
You
got to ask, right?
You know, absolutely got to ask.
That has been
sure.
the center. I mean, Atlanta, Georgia has been almost the center of everything that's gone on in I don't know, culture, in politics, in law.
Hell, I was involved on the bail side of it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
What was your experience like?
Well, I mean, look, just like everybody else. I mean, I kind of took it at face value and what's in front of me, and proceeded forward with the job that I was asked to do, and then we've still stayed good on the bonds for the duration of the case, as we always do, and it's been business as usual for us.
I imagine it couldn't be usual. Were you having to phone into the White House to make sure that everyone was reporting as they should?
When you get into that side of it,
just called you out.
That's right. That's a different. Yeah,
That's
you're
great.
Judge, you're not wrong.
They let you through the switchboard?
No, I am not privy to any of those conversations. So I on the record, that is not Daniel having those conversations.
But you did have some pretty
in the very beginning. Oh yeah, in the beginning.
High level people that you dealt with.
Oh,
I don't know if you can say who they were or any of that stuff.
Well, for sure. No, we on Mayor Giuliani's case, I dealt with him personally on that case. That was,
he came to your
his whole
office.
team. Oh yeah, right when he flew in. Mm-hmm.
Goodness, so I hope this is something you can answer because I'm fascinated by it. I feel like I want to call it a circus because that's what it felt like as a guy looking from the outside in. It looked like a 3-ring circus from beginning to end, and I don't know if it was. Did it feel that way to you?
So first of all, I kind of hear that and I get a little disappointed because the whole thing that I was trying to do with all of my cases is lower the temperature to the extent it's possible, is take out some of that drama, because I don't I'm not trying to run a courtroom like it's a television show. And because generally, again, what we were dealing with mostly before it went off to the Court of Appeals was these pretrial motions that only lawyers would love. What is the full extent of the First Amendment and the Supremacy Clause and the Immunity Clause? Just really dense legal stuff. So the thing you probably weren't tuning into is we had like a 6-hour motions hearing where they're just throwing PowerPoint slides at me. And that certainly didn't feel like a circus.
Yeah, right.
It felt like if you had trouble sleeping, you could tune in. It was like an insomnia cure. But that was more just, pure lawyering, right? And that was, I think, for a lot of what we were dealing with. And it wasn't the stuff the public was tuning into, but it was more your classic kind of what you would expect from what's in a courtroom. And you're not going to avoid the drama of a high-profile case, right, and when you bring those kind of defendants into it. But I tried to do what I could to lessen that. So, for example, I wasn't going to require any of the defendants to show up in court. If they didn't want to be there, I wasn't going to make them be there. And so we never had. I think I only laid eyes on a handful of them. We didn't have to deal with some of that, again, chaos that would have come along with that. But just by the nature of the disqualification motion, by the time that went into a motions hearing, then you're dealing with what you would really deal with at any trial, which is sometimes you just don't know what a witness is going to say or what's coming up next or what curveball is going to get thrown. And so I think a lot of people reacted to that and fed off that. And there was only so much I could do about that, which also interacted with how I view my role as a judge in those kind of situations.
As a guy that works in media, I even made myself a note as you're saying that media's not going to allow it to be anything but a circus.
That's fair.
But that's really what I mean, because in the courtroom, because I watched a lot of it being at a news station.
You got to find something else.
I just knew we were going to talk about it a lot, so you have to at least pay attention to educate yourself enough. But here's what happened. Here's what was said. Here's why. And not being a legal mind by any means, it's easier to have a discussion on news talk radio than it is in the courtroom. But media was not going to allow it to be anything but chaos.
Yeah, and that is, in the room itself, you've got to try and establish order as much as you can. There's no question that's the judge's role. But this also where I can sit there and reflect. You talked about questioning myself. I'll be thinking about this one for years, which is what kind of leeway should not have given. My point being, from a big picture, is where I view my role as a judge in the middle of an evidentiary hearing is I'm not there to be guiding every single question and response. I'm there if the attorneys want me, ask me to come weigh in. Otherwise, this is your battle. You get in there, you duke it out, and I'll be there ready to make a decision if you need me to. So for the most part, I'm just trying to allow the most important people in the courtroom, which are the litigants, to do their thing. So if during this hearing you're going back and forth and it's getting off the rails a little bit and it's getting a little uncertain, I'm gonna kind of hold back until you say, look, you make some kind of objection or some kind of motion. But I want to let that process play out without imposing my will on it. And that's just my own personal view of things, because when I was a lawyer in the courtroom, I wanted to be able to try my case and do my thing. And if I had a judge sitting there micromanaging me, I didn't feel that was in the best interest of the case. And so that's the approach I take to judging as well. So, for example, at some points during the case, things got a little out of control. But I was trying to stay consistent with just my internal philosophy of let them do battle and see where the chips fall.
It says a lot about you to have that kind of restraint, and we're lucky to have someone like you on the bench in Fulton County that has that, because I don't think most people possess that. Most people, they are influenced by a myriad of exterior things or things away from the main thing. And it's easy to get. It seems like it would be easy to get caught up in that, and the fact you didn't, it says a lot about you.
Well, you can go both ways. Again, there's no one size fits all for judging, and it could very well be that some of the more proactive judges could have maybe finished it sooner and gotten it done. But you can again circle around on these what ifs forever, and there you have it. That's part of the fun of lawyering too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When we come back on Justice Unfiltered, let's talk about the family stuff, the things that you are able to do that maybe take your mind away from some of the stuff, the craziness that happens in Fulton County. with some sort of regularity, and maybe even some of the role that you and maybe the precedent that you set as a judge for other judges and lawyers and here in Fulton County. That'll be next on Justice Unfiltered. Our guest, Judge Scott McAfee, along with Daniel Madelon, a Second Chance Bail Bonds and a Second Chance Monitoring. He's the CEO of there. I'm Tug Cowart. This is Extra 1063.
Marco's Fiery Flavors menu is back. Sadly, we can't show you our fiery pepperoni pizza topped with a bold Carolina Reaper cheese blend and 2 kinds of pepperoni. But here's some sounds that'll give you the same fiery feeling. Fiery pizza. Fiery cheesy bread. Inferno bread. Sounds delicious, right? The Fiery Flavors menu is back at Marco's Pizza for a limited time. Get it while it's hot. Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. Taxes may apply. See store for details.
Buying a car shouldn't be a mystery. Hi, I'm Stacey Ellis, Vice President of the Jim Ellis Automotive Group. At Jim Ellis, we believe in complete transparency because you deserve to know exactly what you're getting. That's why we show you all the numbers, no hidden fees, no surprises. We explain every option clearly so you can make the right decision with confidence. And if you ever have questions, we have answers. Our team is here to guide you, making sure you're informed and in control every step of the way. At Jim Ellis Automotive, we don't want to sell you just any car. We want to help you buy the right car, because doing the right thing for you is what matters most to us. Experience car buying the way it should be. Honest, straightforward, and built around you. And don't forget, Jim Ellis buys cars too. It's the safe and easy way to get maximum value for your car. To get started, visit one of our 21 convenient locations across Metro Atlanta or shop online at jimellis.com. The quick, easy, and convenient way to search and compare more than 5,500 cars, trucks, and SUVs. Jim Ellis Automotive, where you can always expect the best.
Now back to Justice Unfiltered, presented by a Second Chance Bail Bonds on Extra 1063 FM and the Extra app.
Welcome back to Justice Unfiltered on Extra 1063. Our guest, Judge Scott McAfee, and of course with Daniel Madelon of a Second Chance Bail Bonds and a Second Chance Monitoring. My name is Tug Cowart. When we finished that last segment, we're kind of talking in the break about how social media impacts everything. And I'll give you an example. Like, somebody makes a strange face during a ball game, football, baseball, hockey, whatever it is. By the end of that game, you know their name, you know where they go to school, you know their entire background, if they've had a ticket or not. You know everything about them. You were in one of the most observed cases involving the President of the United States of America. Did that happen to you?
Just a touch. So, we knew that this case was coming down the pipes. It wasn't a surprise. So each of the 20 judges could start thinking about, to themselves, I'm sure, what would I do if it ends up to being me? And so the grand jury announcement came out pretty late on a weeknight. I forget, maybe it was a Tuesday. And so immediately, you knew the microscope was coming. And that's not typically what a judge has to experience. I mean, I know some judges are very much about, hey, I'm on social media trying to get my name out there because we have to be, because we're elected judges. Judge Dillard on the Court of Appeals is one that's really well known for that and does it quite well. I had not taken that approach. I hadn't really been on social media very much, more of a lurker. And
that's a great word.
Just kind of
because I'm that way too. I read, but I don't post a lot.
Yeah, just making sure I don't have that FOMO. And mainly just to make sure you're not being talked about, right?
Right. Exactly.
But the second that thing came out and my name was stamped on the top, just me and my wife sat down and deactivated everything we had, because I didn't want people going through and pulling. Not that there is anything on there really that's worthwhile, but just,
something could be twisted.
Just dissecting every photo or every family photo or everything in this and that.
And to protect your kids too, I'm sure.
Right, because it did come. All of a sudden that next week, it was really a surreal experience. Anything that was out there on the internet, they found. And then there was the proactive investigation, which I guess I don't know if investigation is the right word, but it's just the doing profiles. So they called up every one of my former employers. They would call law school classmates. They pulled, like articles I'd written in the college newspaper, just trying to find out anything and everything that they could to try and see, well, what's his angle going to be? Is he going to be pro this side, pro that side? And I kind of like to think that that there was enough out there to show that I could handle it objectively. I had some connection to as a Kemp appointee. There's people were suggesting I'd be too friendly to the defendants, but then again, I worked in the DA's office and had even worked for the district attorney before, back when she was a trial supervisor. So I feel like I couldn't really get typecast, which I thought was the right theme for the case. But to answer your question, the immediate question, which is how social media is impacting these things, thankfully it's not impacting the day-to-day case, but it's just now going to be one added complication to high-profile cases, without a doubt.
Goodness. How do you see that shaking out in your business, Daniel? Because I would imagine social media.
I don't mind the social media because sometimes that's how you find people, right?
So they'll tell you where they are.
So I'm here for all of it, if I'm being honest. But
here I am at Six Flags over Georgia.
Right.
And I'm supposed to be
they
home.
can't control themselves. No, the ones that
they can't wait to tell you.
No, the check-ins and the lives and all that. Yeah, it's all happening. But no, it's like the social thing. Yeah, it's a dangerous thing, man. I mean, it has its pros and cons,
Just like everything else in life.
Just like everything else in life, and you just evolve and figure out how to apply it in your business, and
And I'd have to think that anyone coming up now, any middle schooler getting on, Instagram for the first time, has to now be aware that everything you post is going to come back.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
And it's like, I was just talking to my son about this yesterday. I was talking to my son on the way to school this morning. I think it was on the way to school this morning. We were talking about this, and it was like, I was like, Ash, like Facebook was my thing, right? Like my era, right? Now Instagram is those kids, right? And then before that, it was MySpace or whatever. But
now
like
Snapchat
I don't know.
and TikTok,
right? Exactly. So it's all like, it's just wild though. I mean,
the only thing though, Judge, you said that kids coming up in middle school, they should know. I would say they should know, but I see things posted on social media that I'm like, why in the world would you post that? How would your parents allow you to post that? Is there no monitoring? And the answer is probably not, because like with Snapchat, I joined Snapchat just to try to keep up with my son in high school. I couldn't figure it out. I had no idea how to use Snapchat. I finally just deleted it. It's impossible. I'm telling you, it's impossible to keep up.
And it's changing every day too.
Yeah,
so
no, that's another thing.
Or maybe we just our standards. We begin to be more accommodating, realizing that when someone runs for political office, they're going to have photos of them making silly faces.
Yeah, right. It's just there.
And so we just recognize that people are people.
We are actually human.
Yeah, right. Like the Depeche Mode song, "People are people." When you do have time off, do you have time off?
Oh, sure. No, it's look. I mean, I've really tried to apply myself to the job. My personal just obsession was getting the docket in a shape where I could confidently say, look, we're giving people their speedy day in court. And that took a good 2.5 years, and we were having to do that throughout the complication of the election case. But now that I can confidently say, look, we're caught up. It isn't something where I'm grinding on weekends or every weeknights. Now, sometimes if I've got like a legal puzzle I'm trying to work through, I'll just go ahead and, hey, leave me alone for a minute. I need to finish to find the answer. But you can find that balance, and to the extent I can, it's keeping the young kids alive to try, and that's where most of the focus stays.
So, but with a final thought, with a job as what appears stressful to me, I mean, when you do wind down, are you watching like Adam Sandler movies because they're so goofy and you can just laugh at nothing and it has no consequence?
I'd probably spend.
What's the number one show you're watching right now? What's the number one?
I just bounce. I binge from show to show. I mean, you're putting me on the spot here. I mean, right now they've got Pluribus on Apple TV, which is like an interesting twist on the zombie genre by the Breaking Bad folks, which is just greatest show. I think I would put right up there alongside any other, and Better Call Saul. So that's the one.
I'm a big fan of both of those. My wife and I have watched both of those.
And I think one of the most accurate reflections of the legal profession. Like Better Call Saul was.
It was. That's the one. I liked that. Yeah.
Put Law and Order to the side. Put all those others. Like that one was fantastic. Yeah.
I couldn't.
Have you ever seen it, Tug?
No, I couldn't.
You gotta go. Yeah, you gotta watch it.
I couldn't get through the first 3 or 4 episodes of Breaking Bad. It's just too dark for me.
It is pretty dark.
I love
darkness.
Breaking Bad. I watched all Breaking Bad.
I couldn't do it. I get made fun of by my coworkers because I couldn't get through it. I just don't have whatever that is, man.
But with some universal themes that all tie in too. I mean, Walt starts out as just a guy trying to do right by his family.
Yeah.
But then by the end, he realized, well, maybe it wasn't all for that. It was for satisfying the ego and vindicating where he's felt wronged along the way.
I stopped after that bathtub scene thing.
That would be a good point to stop.
I was done.
That would be the spot to
It was over
stop.
for me. I was like,
go.
I can't go past this.
You can power through that though. There's more waiting for you.
It's great.
I'll try to give it a second shot. I just don't know that I can do it, man. I want to see positivity. All I have to do is turn on the TV. I'll see plenty of negative.
Isn't that
if I
strange?
pick up my phone, I'll see plenty of negative. Give
funny.
me lighthearted. Give me cat videos. Give me puppies being rescued. That's the kind of stuff. I know it sounds absurd, but I promise you that's really what I like.
You're
to
healthier
see.
than the rest of us.
I
then.
hope
That's
so.
right.
Gosh, I hope so. Judge, thank you so much for spending time
It was
with us.
absolutely my pleasure. It flew by.
Yeah, it always does. Judge McAfee and Daniel, thank you, of course, for doing the show. Justice Unfiltered with Daniel from A Second Chance Bail Bonds and A Second Chance Monitoring. I'm Tug Cowart. This is Extra 1063.
This is an Extra 1063 podcast. To hear more live and local content like this, tune into 1063 FM or download the Extra 1063 app.
Marco's Fiery Flavors menu is back. Sadly, we can't show you our fiery pepperoni pizza topped with a bold Carolina Reaper cheese blend and 2 kinds of pepperoni. But here's some sounds that'll give you the same fiery feeling. Fiery pizza. Fiery cheesy bread. Inferno bread. Sounds delicious, right? The Fiery Flavors menu is back at Marco's Pizza for a limited time. Get it while it's hot. Limited time only. Price of participation may vary. Taxes may apply. See store for details.
Buying a car shouldn't be a mystery. Hi, I'm Stacey Ellis, Vice President of the Jim Ellis Automotive Group. At Jim Ellis, we believe in complete transparency because you deserve to know exactly what you're getting. That's why we show you all the numbers, no hidden fees, no surprises. We explain every option clearly so you can make the right decision with confidence. And if you ever have questions, we have answers. Our team is here to guide you, making sure you're informed and in control every step of the way. At Jim Ellis Automotive, we don't want to sell you just any car. We want to help you buy the right car, because doing the right thing for you is what matters most to us. Experience car buying the way it should be. Honest, straightforward, and built around you. And don't forget, Jim Ellis buys cars too. It's the safe and easy way to get maximum value for your car. To get started, visit one of our 21 convenient locations across Metro Atlanta or shop online at jimellis.com. The quick, easy, and convenient way to search and compare more than 5,500 cars, trucks, and SUVs. Jim Ellis Automotive, where you can always expect the best.